Greetings, it is MaxODiddly here, and today I'm here with another Java tutorial to help you get an A in your coursework or exam, and today we're here with validating a URL. So, you can click the eye up in the corner if you want to learn how to do it using regex pattern matching, but here is another way for you to do it. So before we get started, make sure to import java.net.url. Firstly, create a public static Boolean method, call it validateURL, and pass in a string, and we're going to call it urlString. This is going to be the string containing the URL we want to validate. As this is a Boolean method, we need to make sure we return a Boolean, so at the end just put return true. Above the return true, let's do a try-catch statement, which is try, and then a catch, exception E. Essentially, try a bunch of code. If it goes well, don't do anything different. Just continue on executing the code after your try-catch statement. If something goes wrong in the try statement, execute what's in the catch statement. And by what I mean goes wrong, if an error occurs. And then the program won't crash and we can do what we want if an error occurs. Inside the try statement, put new URL equals urlString dot toURI. What we're essentially doing is we're using the java.net.url class to validate our input string, which contains a URL. The idea behind this is to create an object, a URL object, and we're passing in the input, or the string input, which is going to contain our URL we want to validate. And what will happen is, if we pass in something which isn't a valid URL, then an object won't be created, and an error will occur. And if an error occurs, we know the input wasn't valid. But if no error occurs, then it's safe to assume the input was valid. Inside the catch code, we're going to do System.out.println E. This is going to print out any errors that occur, so it can help us debug, or maybe we can use it for an enhanced validation system where we tell the user what's wrong with the URL they input, as opposed to just saying it's false and invalid. And after we return false. So if an error occurs, we return false, we exit the method, and therefore the return true is never called. If we can get through this line of code without an error occurring, the return true will occur because it's a valid URL. Inside our main function, let's just do System.out.println validateURL, and we're going to pass in link, which is our string here. And this is just going to print out our true or false. So, let's run our code. As you can see, it returned a true. Just true was printed, which means it was valid and nothing wrong occurred. Let's try an invalid input. Let's say we change this to Bob. Just Bob. We save and then we run again. As you can see, we have it's printed false because Bob is not a valid URL. And the reason is, there's no protocol in this URL, which is the HTTPS or HTTP part, basically. And that's it for this tutorial. Be sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Share this if you found this helpful and you know others who might benefit from this, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for being a great audience, and I'll see you next time.